going to discuss what typically some people believe as double rim coins, when in actuality they are called color die strikes. I'm going to use an actual die and I'm going to demonstrate how some of these errors occur and how a color die clash occurs. Okay, let's pretend this is the anvil die. This is an actual state quarter die for Ohio that I bought, and they ground the design off of it, so that's not going to help us with that part of it. But at least let's pretend this is the collar die, and let's pretend this is in 1, 2, 3 parts, and they're put together. The collar die depth is the same depth as the coin. Now, while that's sitting, let's pretend it's still on the collar or still on the anvil die. While it's sitting on that and it's seated, the hammer die comes down and strikes this, and it happens extremely fast. And anything can happen. So if you get a coin that is just not seated properly inside that collar die, you can see it's off just a little bit there maybe, and it strikes it, then you're going to have out of collar a little bit. Sometimes it'll be 50% or more. If you get another coin that comes in and gets struck onto it, then you got an indent, a blockage. Okay, and it can be centered, or it can be on the side, and it'll spread it out. So as you can see, when this is seated in there and in the coining chamber, and this hammer die is striking these coins, and they're being blown out, puffed out. I mean, it's happening so fast that you can easily get a conglomeration. You can get multiple strikes, you can get bonded pairs, you can get, I think there's been 11 or more coins bonded together at one time when they get stuck in the chamber. And the other thing to think about is when, let's say one of these pieces of this collar die is just off just a little bit, and this die is off just a little bit, and it comes down and it doesn't take much of an angle and it hits that collar die. And on the top here, it'll actually put a little bit of a moon shape, or it'll put little divots from the reading. It just depends on what coin it is. If it's a nickel or a cent, obviously it doesn't have reading, so it'll be more like a moon shape. Otherwise it'll look like somebody took and gouged it a little bit. Well, when that strikes the coin, you'll impart what people typically call a railroad rim, or they call a double rim, which it's not a double rim. It's just not. It's actually a clash. It's a collar die clash. And so we'll look at a few more examples of things that can happen in the coining chamber when it comes to this. And hopefully the visual helps you understand it a little bit, because I mean, that's one of the things people don't realize. This is basically what the setup is. It may be to the side, it may not be straight up and down. And you've got your hammer die coming in and hitting, and these coins are being puffed out and they're coming back in, and they're going, it's just like it's really fast. This is hard on the dies, it can be hard on the coins, and if things aren't adjusted exactly the way it should be, then you're going to have an issue. A lot of times it's minor, sometimes it can be dramatic. So we'll look at a few examples and do some more visuals on that one. Here's a picture of what they call the railroad rim, and right here you can see where the collar die clash. After it hit the die, it imparted some reading marks on the die, and actually when it struck the planchet in this coin, it struck it into the rim. Now all these pictures, they're not in any particular order. I just wanted to show you some examples. This is a collar die clash from a reeded coin. The next is a picture of a Lincoln cent, and this is showing where it's no reeds, collar die clash, and you can see how smooth it is. This is what a lot of people mistake for even double dies. They mistake these for double rims, and they're not. Actually struck the clash mark. And here is the collar die again. I want to give you a little bit closer of a view and what we were talking about. And this is the edge that hits the die, or the die hits, I should say. And when the die hits that's what, that little edge right there is what imparts that shape, that groove, for want of a better word. If it had reading on it, then it would do that as well. And this all has to be exactly the same height as a coin. I mean, all has to be perfect. You know, and then once this coin struck, it's puffed out. Okay, and then another coin enters the chamber. And